What's up, everybody? Jeremy Gerard from Mythic Customs here, just shooting a quick video to talk a little bit about how you can swap out heads from Mythic Legions hoods. So this is a topic that I've talked about on my Mythic Conversations show a few times, but it's keenly important now because I know a lot of you are getting the Kitsune heads in from Wolf King Customs, and one of those heads was specifically designed to go inside of a Mythic Legions hood piece to create like a cool hooded fox type warrior. I used it especially with an elf ranger to make kind of like a Robin Hood fox type character. So very briefly, just wanted to talk to you a little bit about how you can do that. So the first thing you're going to obviously need is one of the Mythic Legions figures with a hood. Again, I have an Elf Ranger here. That's one of the ones that I certainly used in my recipes. One note about doing this is Mythic Legions figures are made to be somewhat modular. They're made to be customizable. There are parts that are designed to come off. The heads pop off, the arms pop off, etc. If you have any challenge with that, a little bit of heat and you're usually good to go. Now, this particular part, even though you can get this head out, and a lot of customizers do it, it's not meant to come out. So there is a level of risk here, and you should be aware of that before you attempt this. I've probably popped 20 to 25 heads outside of Mythic Legion's hoods, and I've only ruined one of them. So that's a pretty good percentage, but the bigger picture is I have ruined one. And that's something for you to be mindful of, that if you do this, you are taking a risk that you could ruin the part. Now, if you're careful with it, if you take your time, if you follow these instructions, you should be all set. But like any kind of customizing, there is a level of risk. If you're painting a part, there's a level of risk that you could mess it up. If you're going to be altering it, you're going to be cutting something, doing any kind of customization work, you do take that risk. So be mindful of that. Now, with these particular parts, there are two pieces. So there's the hood itself and there's the head inside. They're created as two separate pieces. Once again, not intending for them to be removed, but it's part of the way that the line is made. This same hood is used not only on like the male Elf Ranger and the male Shadow Elf Ranger, but also on any of the females that have the hooded head. The Faustia figure, the Ravina figure, the As a Spirit Bender, it's all the same hood piece. So they were able to get a number of different characters, both male and female, out of this one hood by making the head removable, or at least a separate piece, I should say. That makes it so they can use that one hood piece. The head is just glued in. It's an inserted piece that's glued in. So the first thing you're going to have to do is heat that part. Now, you can either use hot water or hot air. I like to use hot water. I fill up a mug like this, about halfway with some water, and I microwave it for about 2.5 minutes. If you ever do this, you're going to want to I use this mug specifically for customizing. You don't want to use anything that you're going to actually use for food preparation or to consume food out of. Keep this specifically for customizing. But I microwave it for about 2.5 minutes. You don't want the part in the microwave, obviously. You don't want to microwave that plastic. That will cause havoc. You just want to microwave the water. When it comes out, you just want to drop that in the water, let it sit in there for 60 seconds or so, and then I usually get a spoon and I fish it out. Be careful. Water will sneak into the little crevices here of the part. You don't want to burn yourself. You do have to be careful with this. But once it's out, once it's warm, you can start trying to work that head out. Alternatively, in addition to using hot water, you could use hot air. If you wanted to use a blow dryer and just hit it with a blow dryer, that works as well. I personally find that hot water is a little bit of a faster method for me. So to do the heads, I like to use hot water. What ultimately will happen is I have what it looks like here. So the head, when it comes out, it's this little insert piece. And then you have the empty hood. It's glued around the back, around the top, maybe around the sides a little bit. That's what you kind of have to work out. Now, I've seen some parts that are much more heavily glued than others. For example, I find that the Elf Ranger from the Advent of Decay wave has less glue than the Shadow Elf Ranger from the Soul Spiller wave does. Same exact parts painted differently. But they were from two different runs, and they might have just put more glue on at the factory for that Soul Spiller run. But you are going to want to just take your time. I have seen some people use like a small flathead screwdriver on this to kind of pry it out. You can certainly do that. You can just use your hands, whatever works for you. But ultimately, you're trying to separate it from the back wall here and then also from the top. Okay, that's what you're trying to accomplish. You do want to be careful if you are going to use a tool like a screwdriver. If you're going to put it in the top, you want to be careful because you don't want to actually poke it through, say, the top of that hood. Remember, once you heat this plastic, it's going to be very soft, very pliable. That's what you're going for, so you can remove this piece. But that pliability, that softness can also work against you if you're using something like a screwdriver. You could actually scrape it, poke it through. I certainly wouldn't use like an X-Acto knife. That will go right through. But once you get it out, you have that separate headpiece and you have the open hood. Put that headpiece aside for now because I'm going to give you some ideas of what you can do with that in a moment. But what you're going to get if you purchased some of the painted Kitsune heads, which I know are shipping right now, people should be getting them soon, you're going to get this little head insert piece. If you buy one of the unpainted Kitsunes, you paint it and you're going to be at the same position as getting the painted one. You just want to insert that in and it slides right in. You can either glue it in place if you want it to be a little more permanent, or you can just slide it in. I actually like to squish down the hood a little bit. I find just because the shape of the Kitsune head, it's a little wider and shorter than the elf head is. So the hood fits a little bit weird. If you just squish it down a little bit while it's soft and pliable, I find that works really, really well. And then, let it cool and it will hold its shape. And all you have to do is just literally insert that head in there and position it so it looks good to you. There we go. Once you're done with that, you literally will just pop it onto the figure you want. Now, these heads, they're not a perfect fit. They were designed, while they work great with Mythic Legions, you can certainly use them on Marvel Legends and Star Wars Black Series and a number of different lines. So the net port, it's not a perfect snug fit for one of these figures. So you might want to use a little bit of that blue tack stuff that you get for like putting up posters. I get it from Amazon. I just look up blue tack. I get some of that. Put a little bit on the top of the neck post and the head will stay on. The hooded head is actually nice because it covers a lot of the neck, so you don't have to do as much painting on the neck. I actually talk a little bit about painting these parts on another video I posted on my YouTube channel, so you can check that out as well. But that's what you're going to do with the hood. You need to remove the head that's there, heat it up, pry it off from the back wall and from the top so you can get that piece out, and then you just insert the Kitsune head right inside. Now that is, as I said, going to leave you with this little headpiece here. Little tip, what I know a lot of people are doing with these is they're actually using Marvel Legends here to make different Mythic Legions heads that have the face but with some different hairstyles. I have found that the back of the Mythic Legions head that goes inside the hood is a little too big to work really effectively with Marvel Legends here. But if you shave some of this down with an X-Acto knife, again, while the piece is nice and warm from the hot water, great time to do it. If you shave a little bit of this down, and you've got some Marvel Legends here, there's a number of Marvel Legends figures that come with plastic here. That's a separate molded piece from the face. Usually you can pull those right off with the slightest amount of pressure. Pop that right on, maybe a tiny bit of glue to adhere it, and then you can actually utilize this head as well, this little insert that you've pulled out, if you want to make an elf character that's got some long hair. I've seen a number of people actually do it with the female heads. They remove a head from a Fastia or a Ravina, and they use some of the female head from the Marvel Legends characters, like a Jessica Jones, or any of them, any of the female characters that have plastic here. Put that on and you've got a brand new unhooded hair hanging down head that you can use for Marvel Legends. So it's as simple as that. Take your time, be patient, make sure you use some hot water. If you start prying the head out and it's not coming out right away, don't force it. put it back in that hot water, heat that hot water up some more if you want to maintain the temperature that it's at so you can get that. Just be patient, take your time, and you'll see that head comes out. Honestly, once you do it once or twice, you'll start to get used to the part and how it works, and any subsequent ones you do will probably be that much easier. So with that, I hope you enjoy the Legends of the Kitsune parts. I can't wait to see what you do with them, making your Kitsune Rangers and Samurais and Critters and all the other good creations that I know the community is going to create with these awesome parts. Thank you for checking in. Once again, Jeremy Gerard from Mythic Customs. You can get those Kitsune parts at wolfkingcustoms.com. Thanks for looking.